So, friends, welcome back to another episode of Tapping into Life. I am your host, Brenda, and I am excited. I've got a new event coming up that I want to share with you. And this conversation is going to be very much in line with this event that I'm hosting in April 12th. It's called Breaking Free from the Cycle of People Pleasing and Stepping into Your Power of Peace, Confidence, and Joy. Now, this is a masterclass for women. Not to say that men don't deal with people pleasing as well, but I really want to focus on women like myself. I've talked about this before in my different episodes around my journey with people pleasing. It's a process. But what I thought was important is to talk a little bit today about what are some of the signs physically that could be affecting you as well as emotionally. This is definitely a behavioral pattern. It's not something we're born with. It's like, oh, I came out into the world and I'm going to please everybody. No, it's conditioning and behavior that we've learned often from a young age. Maybe we didn't feel worthy, validated, loved. And so we're trying to, make up for it and doing different things to get people to see us, right? Notice that, we are here, we exist, that we have value. So it's a lot of external. But what I want to focus on in this conversation is about the physical signs. So if it's new for you and you aren't really aware of people pleasing in your life, maybe some of these signs might be hitting home for you. And if you are aware of the people pleasing, I just invite you to be curious and be kind and compassionate because this is a process. There's a lot of layers to this. And what I'm excited about with my workshop is that I'm going to, just start to gently bring some of this in as a conversation and giving you some tools to help support you through this journey. That was really the saving grace for me, is that I was taking this kind of one layer at a time, really understanding what has been, keeping me stuck. Where am I putting my energy? And I was putting so much of my energy outwardly. And I think that explains a lot of these different issues that you may be experiencing if you are, in terms of the physical aspects of people pleasing. And I think one of the big ones is that you're constantly in a state of stress and anxiety. And I think we throw in worry there, which falls under the emotional component as well. But how it plays out is that we're living in fight or flight, and then our body can only maintain that for so long. And then we go into either freeze or faint. And I experienced that definitely quite a while ago, thankfully, but I was in a cycle of this and I didn't realize I was definitely trying to stay afloat. So maybe you can relate to this. Is you're in this routine, you're working, you're a mom, you've got kids to take care of. Maybe you're even taking care of a parent that is, got health issues. It adds up and you're feeling like you're just depleted and you're trying to pull from a source that has no charge, right? It's like you can't use your phone if there's no battery. Yet we keep putting out and depleting ourselves to the point where our health becomes an issue. So living in a state of stress, that's that fight or flight, in going into a dorsal where we're in the sympathetic into the dorsal. Our nervous system is constantly feeling rattled. And what I've noticed, even for myself and working with other clients, is that when we're living in this, we've almost adjusted to it in a sad way. And so our body has just learned that this is kind of how it is. Even though I'm maybe dealing with colds a lot, I've got a lot of fatigue, my body aches, I've got a lot of just soreness throughout my body, that I've just learned to accept that this is just how it is. And I can relate to this on so many levels because this is how I was living my life. I had two young boys, they were busy in sports, they needed my attention. Everything was really about them, and, trying to help out with my parents or, in different areas of, my family. And the last person I was giving any attention to was myself. And I didn't really pay any attention to the fact that this was people pleasing. I was in this place of, I'm doing the best I can. And I just want to repeat that again, is that's what we do, right? We're doing the best we can with what we have and what we know. And so a lot of this tired and, feeling like you've just got no energy, that's because we're putting all our energy outward. And I kind of understood that, but at the same time, I'm like, well, I don't know how to charge it. Like, how do I get my energy back? And I wasn't really in tune with the whole energy process. So that was another learning as well. And I will share this in my workshop, is how to regain your energy. But just to quickly touch on this, is that when we change the focus and we start to go inward, which is a really important time right now for us to start to do that. It's never too late, but when we start to turn back and go, wait a second, how am I taking care of myself? I'm running around literally with my head cut off. I haven't even taken a break. And I think one of the important things here is that it doesn't have to be this big, whoa, I'm going to take 4 hours out of my day for myself. That might not be realistic, right? Because of our schedule, we may not have even, it might be challenging to get 5 minutes, right? Depending on, the needs of your family, the type of job you have, all of the variables that are participating in you continuing this cycle. And I think one of the things that's important to recognize is that it's just even starting small. So even starting 1 minute and resetting yourself could make such a difference. And, I'm a big, as you know, tapping into life, I'm all about tapping and breathing is my go-to. And so now I'm noticing when my nervous system feels like so stressed, it's like spinning. So if you are feeling like, oh my gosh, my body is aching, I just went for a massage and I actually don't feel much better, or I went to the chiropractor and I'm still feeling lousy. We're holding all of our emotions in our body. So this again is the physical aspect, is that we are not addressing what we are feeling. So we're pushing it down and our body holds it all. And as women, we hold a lot of that in our hips, especially in our lower back and in our uterus, our womb. And so if we are struggling with certain things, but we don't feel like we have a place to say anything, that is all going into the body. So those aches and pains, if you're somebody that deals with chronic headaches, which lead to migraines, those are all unresolved emotions that we're holding on to. And a lot of health issues are stemming from the level of stress that we are under. And when we're in this place, example, like brain fog, where it's like, I can't remember, what was it I supposed to do again? And you're in this cycle of, oh my gosh, like, am I losing my mind? That kind of thing. It's because your brain has reached its capacity, right? Just like your energy, you've drained it. while your brain has done the same. And that's why I think, one of the things, and again, I'm not a doctor, but just on my own observations, is why we're seeing such a decline in our cognitive abilities is because our brain is so maxed out. We're not actually calming our brain down. We're actually in this place of overstimulation with all the devices, with being on, the computer, our phones, watching television. It never ends. We're not in a place of being present and just being, right? We're just constantly connected. And depending on the type of work you do or, what you're managing in your life can actually, just fill up your brain to like, I can't even think. I can't even make a decision right now. And that's because our brain is so full. And so, just really quickly giving a very simple suggestion is to just start to breathe and tap. The breath is so huge. It is just such an amazing tool. And yet we're not utilizing it to its capacity. So really taking the time to connect to your breath and even finding a spot on your body. You can finger tap, tapping under your collarbone. You could tap on your eyebrows. It doesn't matter. Wherever you're going to tap is going to help to support your body, because what it's doing is it's calming the nervous system down, which then tells your brain, oh, actually, we're okay. We don't need to be scanning here for danger. This isn't unsafe. And you're getting back into your body. And when you get back into your body, everything will start to slow down. Everything will start to come back into where it's supposed to be. But this busy, rapid, flying by the seat of my pants energy, if we've been doing it for a long time, and that's what I was doing, it's like the norm. This is all we know, right? So when we start to make adjustments, it's important to do it slowly and gently, because the nervous system is doing its best, as well as the brain. And if we start to make really quick adjustments, just like if you go and do a lot of different self-care practices in one day, for example, maybe you go for a facial or you go for a massage and you go for chiropractic. Sometimes that can be really helpful. And sometimes it can be overloading the system, because the system, your body I'm referring to, is not able to process. And so having the massage, it needs time to process that, right? Work through all of the different aches and pains, the inflammation, and then release it. Then you go and do something else. It might be too soon because we're not listening to our body. And that's the really important part here, is that when we're having aches and pains, our body's trying to communicate with us. What is it we're holding in our bodies? And the other big one around the physical aspects, and this is something I dealt with, is the unexplained health issues, where you're having some health issues. They are interfering with your quality of life. For me, they were like, I couldn't talk. I lost my speech. I went to the hospital. They checked me to see if I was having a stroke. Thankfully, I wasn't. But then they're like, we don't know. We don't know what to do. We have no answers here. And so there was like a little brief conversation, like maybe see a neurologist, maybe it's anxiety, but that was it. That was the extent of the conversation. And I had to kind of do my own exploring, my own figuring out, and get some alternative help. And this is where I started to pay attention to like my emotions. How am I managing myself? And what's the language I'm speaking to myself? There was a lot of negative self-talk. And I recognized like this literally put me on my ass. I also would go just like, I'm trying to manage everything. Woo, the overwhelm was crazy. And then I would crash. And by meaning by crashing, I mean passing out. So I go unconscious. And for a long time, my blood sugar we thought was an issue. And I never got tested because when they would test my blood sugar at that particular moment in time, my blood sugar was very high because we would have orange juice or we would, up my blood sugar. But I think too is that I didn't realize that how I'm eating, I'm quickly grabbing something. Oh, let me grab a quick chocolate bar, not realizing that I probably was needing protein more than sugar. And you have this high of sugar and then you have this low crash, right? You crash. And that's where we have to start looking at how are we supporting our body? If I'm running around, what nutrients am I giving my body? So there's a whole bunch here, but I think the key part of this is that if you are experiencing health issues and you can't get any clarification from your doctor, they don't know. Like they've checked all the boxes, your heart's good, your lungs are good, your blood's working well, but like you're still like having issues, then this is where you might want to think about, how am I showing up in my life? The emotional parts of this too is that, oftentimes when we're in this cycle of people pleasing, we don't feel like we can express ourselves. And when we do, which is what happened to me, is you reach this breaking point. And for me, my breaking point was I thought I had it all figured out, right? I had the plan, how the day was going, and then boom, something came out of left field and knocked me to my ass. But I didn't knock down first. I kind of got pissed. I got so pissed at my husband that I actually lost it. And I felt crazy, to be honest. And then it was like a volcano erupted. And then I passed out. And it was really like, there's so many emotions that come along with that, like shame and guilt, embarrassment, because if they have to call, 911, the paramedics, like it just becomes a whole mess. But the other thing too is that I didn't feel listened to. I didn't feel like people were hearing me, and it snowballed. It snowballed big. And my kids saw this, like it was a whole bunch of stuff. But I think the important part I want to point out here is that we need to be able to talk about our feelings. And when I started to do that, and I started to give myself permission to feel how I'm feeling, doesn't mean the people around you are going to be on the same page. But it was more, I started recognizing I got to start showing up for myself. Like all of a sudden I realized when I was having all of these unexplained health issues, and even some of these issues that I had health-wise, they gave me a diagnosis, but it was still very challenging. And yet me continually putting myself out there, showing up for people, dropping everything, being there for them. When it happened to me where I was in a place where I really needed support, I had very little support from friends and family. Yes, people would help me with my children. Amazing. But for me personally, for me as myself, no, I felt very alone and I didn't have any support. And it was like the light bulb went off, because I'm like, wait a second. Isn't this how it's supposed to work? When you're giving so much of your time and you drop everything for people, aren't they going to reciprocate? No. And what I really had to realize, and this is in process of layers. So be kind with yourself if you're listening to this and you're like, oh my gosh, yes. Is I started to see how the relationships were showing up in my life, and that I was showing up in a certain way and people had this expectation of me. So when we keep putting ourselves out, I realized that I was continually looking for validation. Validation from my family, validation from my friends, validation from my work. Everywhere I was trying to get validation. And I wasn't validating myself. I didn't even realize that I didn't have any worth. I didn't see my worth. I was questioning a lot of the time, like, why am I here? What am I doing? Yes, I'm a mom. Yes, I'm a wife. But to my core, what am I doing? And I think too is like, I was so compassionate about helping people. I worked in mental health. I saw the struggles. I wanted to make it easier for people, but I was missing my own struggles. And I think if you're listening to this, you're going to relate to what I'm saying, because this is the reality of it, is we're continually putting ourselves out there. And I had to learn how to start taking care of myself, how to regulate my emotions. And so that's the key here, is when we start to want to break this cycle, we have to start becoming aware. How's this affecting my health? Don't wait till your health shuts you down. That's what happened to me, where it put me literally on my ass, couldn't work, couldn't move. There were times I couldn't speak. And that's always been an issue for me, right? Advocating, getting my voice out there. So we want to not be waiting until we're flat on our ass, where we have no voice. And that's what a lot of autoimmune diseases do, right? Is that they shut us down. And a lot of this comes from stress. And so how are we supporting ourselves so that we can get ourselves back to where we want to be? And that's going back here. It's giving ourselves, even starting with 1 minute a day. Start with your morning of 1 minute of breathing and tapping, meditating, even if it's 1 minute. And maybe at the end of your day, you do 1 minute of breathing and tapping to end your day and focus on what's one thing I'm proud of. Then it's going to increase to 2 minutes, to 3 minutes. It's going to start to become part of your routine. But the important thing here is that you want to start slow. You want to give yourself the support. You don't want to do things too fast, because your nervous system is going to be like, what the fuck is going on here? Because it's like we were spinning around like we had that all under control, and now you are like slowing us down too fast. Like, what? We can't manage this. So you want to take it slow. As you're introducing these techniques, you want to do them gently and slowly. That's how your system is going to start to adapt. When we go too fast, our system can't manage it, and it will shut us down. It will put us on our back, put us in bed for days. So don't do that, is my suggestion. Okay? Take it slow. Start with 1 to 2 minutes of breathing and tapping. And if somebody is calling you and you see it on your phone, oh, there's that message. I know why they're calling. They're needing something. You know what? You have a choice. You have a choice. Do I answer that right now? Is this in my best interest to take that call or answer that text? Do I have to answer that right now? No. Unless somebody's giving you a 911 call, that's a different story. But a lot of the time, we're treating it like it's an emergency when it's not. And we're sacrificing our own well-being. So take this all one step at a time. Start to notice, where may this be showing up for you physically and emotionally? Where am I in this cycle of people pleasing? And this isn't about judgment. Don't beat yourself up, but start to be aware of like, oh, I noticed I'm doing that again. Okay, that's okay. I'm just going to take a breath and maybe do a little tapping just to support myself and slow myself down. And then I'm going to think about what's my next step. Because the other thing too is, if you are somebody that deals with brain fog, Highly recommend the tapping because that will actually get you back in your body and calm your brain down. And it's a lot easier to make decisions when your brain is clear, when you don't feel this heavy fullness in your head. And we are often putting a lot of pressure on ourselves and expecting things to just fall into place. And we get upset with ourselves when they don't. So if you're going through that, experience where you're like, I can't figure this out. Why can't I make a decision? Why can't I figure this out? Nothing's working for me. That's a sign that you need to breathe and tap and slow it down so you can listen to your body, and then your head is going to respond. Your brain is actually going to respond. Because when we're in that spinning cycle, we're actually offline. It's like a computer. There's no connection here, right? Our brain is like this, but when we're spinning, our brain is offline. So there's no connection to the body. So it's hard to think about things in a positive way. We're just cycling in this negativity. So listen, give it a try, right? Like this is how we stop these cycles, these behaviors that have been influencing our life for a very long time. And what I want to share with you as I'm wrapping up here is that I'm really excited. I am going to be launching a free masterclass for women on exactly what I'm talking about, breaking the cycle of people pleasing so we can step into our power. And everybody's power is going to be different, but basically what I'm talking about when I say power is stepping into your authentic self, being who you're meant to be, not being for other people or, oh, I need to be what they think I'm supposed to be, or I'm trying to live up to what they want me to be. All of those stories, all those limited beliefs that we have convinced ourselves that's what we need to do. So in my masterclass, I'm going to be going through the different symptoms of people pleasing, right? That we can get caught up in, a little bit like what I'm sharing here. And some tools of how you're going to regulate, how you can regulate yourself. That emotional regulation is absolutely key in this process. And I'm also going to share with you, I've got an upcoming program that's going to be really empowering to step into your true authenticity as a person, as a woman, as a mother that you deserve, right? It's never too late for us to change these patterns of our life and to live and to feel joy and happiness and peace. This is what it's about. This is what our life's supposed to be about, and not be in these really stressful, just trying to get, through the day, feeling anxious all the time. We can feel, and this is, honestly what emotional freedom is feel the other, go to the other side, right? Feel the joy, feel the peace, feel the happiness. And yeah, I'm really excited to share with you these tools that have been so profound in my life. They've changed my life. I wouldn't be here talking to you without them, but I'm going to put all that great information in the show notes. It's online. So all you have to do is click on the link and grab your seat. It is free. It's going to be worth so much value to you. And it's really, I'm going to give you the tools to help you get this starting this process. And then there will be more to keep you supported in this process, because it is a journey and you shouldn't do this alone. I have been walking this walk for a long time. I didn't walk it alone. I've had support. I continue to have support, but now it's my time to share this, share my tools, share my guidance, and we can stop these cycles of people pleasing. So I look forward to seeing you at my masterclass on Saturday, April 12th. And yeah, don't forget to register. And if you know other women that could benefit from this class, then please share, because this is how I get the word out there, right? This is what I want more than anything is to make us feel better, is for us to feel happier, but we have to do the work. Nobody can do it for us. We have to do the work for ourselves. So I'm excited to share with you different ways that you can support yourself so you can have your energy back, that you're not putting everybody ahead of yourself, that you're putting yourself first. So to make us feel better is for us to feel happier, but we have to do the work. Nobody can do it for us. We have to do the work for ourselves. So I'm excited to share with you different ways that you can support yourself so you can have your energy back, that you're not putting everybody ahead of yourself, that you're putting yourself first. So I will see you there. And thank you again for listening to another episode of Tapping into Life. I love connecting with you. These conversations are so important. And you know what? That's what it's about, right? It's about how do we continually tap back into ourselves so that we can be the best version of ourselves, right? Well, you continue to have a great rest of your week. I look forward to connecting with you again. And if you haven't subscribed, I would really appreciate you subscribing to the channel on YouTube, or if you listen on Apple or Spotify, you'll get the notifications when I'm sharing my episodes. And also, please share. This is what helps to get the word out so other women can hear. This is not just a